welcome everybody to another episode of the Anime Lounge podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt, alongside with my co-host Lance and our special friend Alec.
Hello everyone.
You guys remember him? He's been in a couple of our episodes. It's always good to have him join us for these. My adult beverage of choice for this episode is going to be Journeyman's Distillery Corset Whips and Whiskey. Apparently it was like a top 4 in the country last year for whiskey, so figured try it out. What about you guys? Lance?
I am doing the exact same thing, and you failed to mention your Spotted Cow, New Glarus, and I am also drinking Spotted Cow, New Glarus. So, drinking the same thing as Matt. What about you, Alec? What you got?
I am drinking some of the downtown Toodeloo Rock and Rye, and I am also chasing this down with a nice Spotted Cow.
There you go.
Definitely can never go wrong with the Spotted Cow. Lance, can you give us that synopsis for this episode?
Sure. Today we are covering Season 1 of Tokyo Revengers, and I'm going to steal this synopsis from my anime list, and it goes like this. Takemichi Hanagaki's second year of middle school was the highest point of his life. He had respect, a gang of friends that he could count on, and even a girlfriend. But that was 12 years ago. Today, he's a nobody. A washed up, no entity made fun of by children, and always forced to apologize to his younger boss. A sudden news report on the Tokyo Manji gang's cruel murder of the only girlfriend he's ever had alongside her brother only adds insult to injury. Half a second before a train ends his pitiful life for good, Takemichi flashes back to the same day 12 years ago when he was still dating Hinata Tachibana. After being forced to relive the very same day he began his downward spiral, Takemichi meets Hinata's younger brother. Without thinking, he admits to a seeming... Oh, that was a typo. Without thinking, he admits to seeing death before flashing back to his past. Takemichi urges him to protect his sister before inexplicably returning to the future. Miraculously, he is not dead. Stranger still, the future has changed. It seems as though Takemichi can alter the flow of time. Given the chance to prevent his ex-girlfriend's tragic death at the hands of Tokyo Manji gang, Takemichi decides to fly through time and change the course of the future. And that's our synopsis.
I mean, that was very thorough. We'll give it to them.
Yeah,
yes.
Pretty good. There's a couple big words in there for me.
Yeah, so as you had said, we're covering season 1. Can't wait. I know I've been trying to get you to watch this for like 2 years. So.
Oh, yeah. As soon as this came out, you were already like, dude, we need to watch this. And this is back when I was on the Funimation train. Like, it's not on Funimation. I can't watch it. I don't want to subscribe to 2 different things. And now here we are. Everyone has to go down the Crunchy train. So,
yep.
Crunchy train. I like that.
I was watching it with ads. Like, I enjoyed it that much. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
but,
I didn't want to do ads.
This is one that's always been on my watch list as well. So when you guys were saying, hey, we're doing Tokyo Revengers, I was like, you know what? This is just the push I need to watch this show. Perfect.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I loved it.
But before we get started, Lance, can you give us that Lance's lessons?
Today's Lance's Lessons is the Japanese word for delinquent, and that is tainosha. Tainosha is spelled Tainosha, and tainosha is very fitting for today because we follow around a couple groups of delinquents. Everybody in this freaking anime is a delinquent, so very fitting for this anime.
No, we have 2 that aren't.
Well, we do have a couple. Well, we have Hina and Draken's girlfriend.
Emma, Hina, and then I guess Hina's brother, you could say, is also not a delinquent.
Okay, there's a very
is not delinquent.
Very small minority of people that are not delinquents. And speaking of small oh my god, I can't speak today. Small minority of people. This fucking show has so many kids in gangs. Like, the entire population of Tokyo is just middle school kids in gangs. It just seems like.
It's a concerning amount of children that are involved in very illegal activity.
I mean, if you want to do the math, it's like 400. But.
Yeah, when you break it down like that. But like when you see the scene shots and the gang fight, the war that was going on, like that's a shit ton of kids and they're all just fighting.
Hey, maybe early 2000s Japan was like rough and
just booming with kids and didn't care about anybody going to just split off and join gangs.
You know, if anyone remembers that old movie, not really old movie, God, I'm kind of dating myself here, but this is back in the late, not quite the 20-teens, but Battle Royale was a movie about a bunch of delinquent kids forced to fight each other because they were such bad kids. They were never going to go to college or amount to anything really, or so they just kind of pitted each other against them. And that kind of got me thinking, like, wow, like, maybe Japanese kids are really bad. And then this show comes out, and I'm like, wow, like, it's kind of confirming this hypothesis right now. Like, I don't want to raise my kid there now.
Or
like you put thorough thought into this.
I have.
I want to go to Japan, raise my child there.
It's always been part of the plan. Now I have to consider it after watching this show.
So one thing I will say with the show, I'd seen it online one time, and I wanted to confirm. So I did find something in an interview with the author. So his name is Ken Wakui, Wakui.
Wakui.
Wakui. Okay. So
You can say Kui.
the author is Ken Wakui. He apparently was in a gang in the 2000s. So this is kind of loosely based off his childhood. Like, inspired by his childhood is probably the best way to say it.
He's got experience and he knows what he's writing about.
So that's...
Minus time travel.
yeah, weird. You mean he can't time travel?
No. I wish we could.
It has not been confirmed whether or not he can.
That's true.
Very true.
But before we get started, does this show give you any sort of, like, remind you of any other shows?
Yeah. Oh my God, why am I blanking? I was thinking about it the entire time I was watching it. What's that one where the little kids...
Well, we'll let Alec answer, see if he remembers.
See how much anime he knows.
See, I couldn't really tie this back to an anime, but it did heavily remind me of that Ashton Kutcher movie, Butterfly Effect.
Okay.
Where he keeps going back in time to see if he can change the future for the girl that he had a crush on, and every single time it just turned out not as planned.
Yeah, I forgot all about that.
That was significantly worse than anything Takamichi's trying to do.
Yes,
but yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Much
that was a
soft-core version of Butterfly Effect. But as far as anime, it was ringing some bells, but I couldn't really tie it to any single one. What did you guys have in mind?
Oh my God, we covered it like
We did.
almost a year ago or so.
We did.
What's the name? I can't remember the name of it right now.
Erased?
Erased. There it is.
Have not seen that. No.
It's a super cutesy movie. It's a very cutesy anime.
Yes, it's very good
It's
show.
something you can totally watch with your significant other. Like, it's a time traveling thing and going back and, like, in Erased, he didn't intend to save this girl. Oh, shit, I shouldn't spoil it for you.
So,
well, there. If you're going to watch this as soon as I go home, and you're going to spoil the whole thing?
From, like, 2012. I'm sorry.
It's old. It's over 10 years old.
But it's not a spoiler.
Okay, I mean, that's all
I've had plenty of time to catch up.
Right. Remember, he does go back. Well, he goes back in time, and then he's like, wait, where am I? And then realizes that what he needed to do because he went back in time was save her. Like, that was the whole reason, essentially, he went back in time. So, because remember, he goes to the future again, and then goes back in time a second time, and then was like, here's my mission, I'm going to do it.
So, at first, I thought this was kind of like an isekai? Isekai. At first, I thought it was an isekai, where he got hit by that. I was like, oh, a traditional, this loser virgin gets hit by a bus or a train, and he goes...
sorry, you gotta say Train-kun.
Train-kun. He gets hit by Train-kun.
Truck-kun.
And then he goes into a different world, and because he had different hair, I thought it was a whole different person.
Oh.
I didn't realize it was time travel until, like, probably a couple minutes later.
I thought it was... Yeah, exactly. I thought it was isekai. Like, no, now he's a new character and everything, but no, it was him.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off.
But does it ever really explain how he jumps back the first time? Because Naoto's dead in that first reality, whereas in all the future realities, Naoto's still alive and they're able to do the magical handshake that travels back in time. How is the first time explained? Did I miss that, or
no idea?
So,
first of all, Matt, how far did you read?
I read... No, I'm not that far. I read the next chapter.
Okay, so you don't know a bunch of information. I know that I know the manga goes pretty far.
Yes.
So
sort of.
Okay, so you're pretty much the same.
Yes.
So you don't know a bunch of extras.
No, this is just going to be kind of me hypothesizing.
Okay, awesome.
I think because what I was thinking can't be right, because he talks about Naoto talks about how he saves Takemichi, but Naoto is dead, so that's not possible unless he's not actually dead.
No, it's because the train of reactions that has to happen is he has to go back to the past, and he has to give him the information. And that information changes the future. And that future change allows Naoto to save Takemichi from the train. And continue Takemichi's life. So that little circle right there, that lets the story continue, but that doesn't explain why it even started in the first place.
Exactly. That's where I had a big problem.
Yeah, exactly.
Anime logic?
I mean, that's what they would like us to start with, but this still doesn't explain why it's even possible in the first place.
Unless his near-death experience is what brings it on, and then the first person he touches? No, because he got beat up. Well, technically he doesn't touch another individual until he touches Naoto.
Yeah, I mean,
he gets his world rocked. I mean,
yeah, but it wasn't a consensual handshake or
true.
So
maybe it's because he made a deal and he made a promise or something along those lines. A goal was set and something needed to happen, and then that started that connection or that catalyst of whatever you want to say. So that's the only thing I could anime logic towards that.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like.
And also, why Naoto?
I think it has everything to... One, I think it's anime logic. 2, I think it has everything to do with the fact that Naoto is the only individual that would stay the same throughout the process. Because Draken goes to jail or he dies. All of his friends are in the Tokyo Manji games, so they're going to... If things change in the past, they're going to change in the future, so they're going to fluctuate... depending on, but Naoto will be the same character no matter what. He will always be a cop in any future timeline.
He's also aware of the future timeline every single time. Somehow. He's the only one who's aware that things have changed. And
Lance and I had this conversation.
Yeah. Okay.
Me and Matt went to an anime convention, and we were watching this and okay, so technically, if you go back in the past and change the course of the future, I can understand the core person being Takemichi only having 2 versions of the timeline.
But he talks about how there's these memories that I don't remember having, but I have them.
Eventually, he says that.
Yeah,
and he only says it that one time, which pisses me off. He should come back to the present with a flood of new memories, which would be...
I think that would be cool, but I also like the drama by not having...
It's definitely a drama thing. Anyway, but yeah, what we were talking about is Naoto somehow knowing that there's time-traveling capabilities.
Yes.
So why would Naoto know if Takemichi changed the future, everything should be a fresh start?
Naoto would not remember anything that had changed from 12 years ago.
And the only curveball that I can throw into this is because there's got to be some stupid link between the two, and maybe Naoto is a special exception. What do you got?
I have it was probably episode 17 or 18 around. I think there's another person that can travel back in the past.
I want to say that too, because there's so many
I think
times.
I know who it is.
What, you're going to say Kiseki?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think Kiseki's got some kind of ability.
Because every time he goes to the future, Kiseki keeps trying to kill Takemichi.
Yeah. And
intentionally so, especially, and it's always linked to, what's her name? Hina. And he's always trying to kill both of them, because he knows that Hina and Takemichi are linked to the past and the future. And I think that he's also linked where... he knows, and he gives Takemichi this look where he when he's being accepted as the 3rd Division captain, and he turns around, he intentionally looks at Takemichi freaking out, and he's like, I gotcha again, because every single time Takemichi goes back, Kiseki has a way of foiling the plan and making sure that the future goes as he wants it, not as Takemichi's trying to plan.
Right. So the only wrench I'll throw in that is Draken says the reason why he's trying to kill Takemichi is the fact that he is close to Mikey and he is trying to hurt Mikey through the killing of his friends.
Okay. I do remember that.
Now, I'm not saying you're wrong. I like that idea. I think it's really good, and it would make a really good story arc, because essentially what they're doing is that they're fighting to go back in time to change it how they want to change it, which would make sense why Takemichi can do the things he does, because that would give him a reason to know that Valhalla would become a part of the Tokyo Manjigen, or the Tokyo Manjigen would be a part of Valhalla no matter what happens. So he can just be like, well, fuck it, I want to see what fucked up things I can do, because I know it's going to go how I want it to go anyway.
I can definitely agree with that. I think there's definitely some strings being pulled there. But kind of like going on these multiple characters, I kind of want to know your opinions. Who was your favorite character?
Oh, man. Lance, you have a favorite character? Or...
If you're gonna let me go first,
Yeah, I'll let you go first.
I'm gonna steal Draken.
Okay.
Ooh,
Draken's
okay.
my boy. He's that tall. You know, he had that growth spurt early in life. He's bigger than the average child his age, and he's just fucking murking everybody. He wanted to be that little badass kid, the first kid of his age group to get a tattoo and prove that he's a badass.
Yep.
His character design, you know, like shaved bald sides and like kind of got that Viking-esque look going with his ponytail deal.
With the braids.
With the braids. I think that's pretty badass looking.
Okay.
He's also like super nice,
Yep.
like respectful. I should say
Yes.
it that way. So he's got good morals. He's fucking powerful. He's a leader. He's an awesome dude. So I like him.
Okay, yeah, I really like him. Yeah, I like, because they called, Takemichi basically says that Draken is Mikey's heart.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like that. Man, I kind of want to go Mikey, but I think for being different, I want to go Baji.
Baji,
okay.
Baji's cool.
Because he stuck to himself no matter what, and he was willing to do whatever it took to get what he wanted, which was to get Tomon back as he saw it, which was back to the original Tomon.
Right. And for our listeners, just in case you don't remember who Baji is, he's the first commander. He's the one with the dark, long hair that he put up in a ponytail. Is super badass.
Yep.
Don't know how you could forget him. It's pretty cool.
Fucking stabs himself in the stomach at the end.
Fucking psycho.
The Kuro, yeah. He, all to make his friend feel that he wasn't responsible for killing him. Because, I mean, he did cause his death. I mean, literally stabbed him in the back.
Yep.
But he was like, you know what? I don't want you to take responsibility for this. I'm going to off myself so that way I have the final say.
Yeah,
I thought that was...
I'm bleeding to death, but you didn't kill me. I killed me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he caused committed seppuku.
Seppuku. I thought it was called Kuro.
Seppuku. Just
Okay.
Google it. So I had
Must be confusing
Japanese,
with another term.
Yeah, Japanese suicide.
It might be like a Chinese suicide or something. Might be the same thing, but just in a different dialect.
Yeah, Kurro or RRU.
Because isn't that what the fighter from Tekken? Isn't that what he does?
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm gonna... For what?
It's like Yashimuro? No.
Yoshimitsu.
Yoshimitsu, yes.
He was one of my favorite characters.
He was one of my favorite characters as
The
well.
pogo stick sword. I love that movie.
Yeah, exactly, that too.
I hated going against that move, though. But I always hated fighting Eddie.
Eddie was he was also one of my other favorite characters.
He was essentially a cheat.
Oh, he was so cheat.
He was like the beast guy in Street Fighter. The beast.
Oh, like the green body, yellow hair guy with the electric attack?
Yeah, they were essentially the same thing because they were the only real character that fought low. So if you just stayed low, you would always win with those two characters. Mm-hmm. Or, well, I wouldn't say always win, but you would win a majority of the time with those two characters.
Unless you knew how to counter it. Yeah, I used to use that cheat move as well.
Yeah, and it always pissed me off because, being a young child, I did not know how to counter those things.
Yeah,
so.
Just being an 8-year-old, just fucking mashing that one button or that one combo that you really like.
Yeah. Down square.
Well, I always love playing at arcades, and so you get the 3 buttons, so you just mash the 3 random. I mash the 3 random
You're
buttons.
cooler. You played in an arcade. Arcades are much harder than an
Yes.
Xbox or a PlayStation controller.
Yes.
So much harder.
So much fun, though. But
So, as far as my favorite character, I'm going to go, completely off on this one. I don't know why I had such a draw to him. I thought he was just awesome as hell, but, also kind of mysterious. I liked Hanma. The step-in commander for the Mobius gang, or Valhalla, or kind of both.
Both.
I couldn't really tell the difference between Mobius and Valhalla. But he was the first person that really countered Mikey and like withstood the super kick and held his own against him. Actually, he held his own against Mikey better than he did against Draken, which kind of made me think that Draken might be a better fighter than Mikey.
Well, we can't dissect that too much because he blocked one kick from Mikey and he had a full-on fight with Draken.
Yes. And
well, he had another. He joined the fight during that the first 100 versus the 50 people when Draken
Bloody Halloween. Bloody Halloween.
Not Bloody
or
Halloween.
No,
that's
before
last
Bloody
one.
Halloween.
But it
October
was
3rd, the November 3rd.
August 3rd.
August 3rd, yeah. Yeah, so August 3rd, that's what it was. And Hanma blocks the kick and then backs into Mobius and lets Mikey fight Mobius. And then at the end, he starts getting into a fight with Mikey. But then I think Draken gets stabbed, so kind of everything reverts to that. Mm-hmm. Like I'm pretty sure
everyone starts running away basically after.
Yeah, because after Draken gets stabbed, everybody like disperses.
Right. And to bring our viewers into place, this fight on the 3rd was the one where it was outside. It was in not like a parking lot, but it was in the rain. It was after our main character got his first kiss.
Your typical. It seems like every anime recently needs to either have a festival or a beach scene. So is your
were both in this.
There's both. But this scene just so happened to be specifically right after a festival.
Yes.
During a festival. So yeah, this was during then, and then Takemichi runs away to try to save Draken, because this is supposedly when Draken's like originally supposed to die.
Yep.
And
he carries Draken and then is in the alley, and the guy that originally beats him up is in the alley with his group of individuals. Do you guys...
Kiyomizu.
Sorry, that noise you're hearing is me flipping my page.
Kamisu?
Kiyomizu?
Kiyomasa. Oh, okay, here's the deal. I wrote down Kiyomasa first.
Yep.
And then it sounded like some other characters were saying Kiyobasa.
No, it's Masa, because it's Mizu.
Oh, we probably can look it up too, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm wondering too, like, is my ears failing me because I heard Kirobasa, or is that a play on Kiyomasa because he was essentially a boss?
Yeah, because he was the leader of that ring of individuals.
He was the one, Kiyomasa was the guy who was leading the fight ring in the very beginning of season 1 before things got broken up. So, Kiyomasa was the one that wanted to stab
Draken for basically breaking up the fight, which I find funny because after watching it a second time, it was Mikey who got rid of it. All Draken did was kick him in the gut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's like you hate the person that kicked you, but not the person that actually lost you all your money.
Right.
And called him out on actually not being a part of Toman.
Yeah, I don't think he was a part of Toman.
No, he was disguising it, and that's why he was really upset that Takemichi's like, I want to meet Sano or Kisaki. Which one do you know? And he turned around and was like, don't you ever say Sano's name again, and starts beating him with a bat. And I think because he was afraid, because he's like, oh my gosh, if he actually meets the leader, then the leader's gonna find out that I've been running this own little side business under his guise and without him even knowing about it.
Oh. That would make sense. That actually makes a lot of sense.
Because remember when he comes up?
I thought Kiyomasa was part of Toman this entire time.
No, he was he was acting like he was, so that way people would think that he's like this big hotshot part of the gang, but he wasn't part of them at all, and that's why Mikey shuts it down. He's like, we would never do something as boring as a fight club, as a fight arena.
Oh, okay. I took it as like, hey man, stop doing your own thing. This is embarrassing for us. You're only giving us a bad name. Shut the shit down. That's the way I took it.
Oh, yeah. I could have sworn he wasn't part of it at all. He was just doing it as a front.
Oh.
Matt, do you know anything, or that we have two different opinions here?
I guess it's just different ways of taking it.
I took it as he wasn't even responsible, and that's why he was so pissed and got back at Draken.
So, I mean, I'm pretty sure every time you see him, he is not wearing a Toman jacket. So I'm going to go with he is not a part of Toman.
Okay.
Because if he was truly in Toman for the Fight Club, he would be wearing the Tomon jacket to basically show that it's authentic.
Right.
But I'm not 100% sure. I will just go with no. Question mark?
Even on this character sheet, he's just in a plain white shirt and pants. He's not wearing the Tokyo Manji uniform.
Whereas everybody else is.
Yes. And just to ask you guys, you understand how Tomon comes into play, right? Like how they come from Tomon to Tokyo Manji game?
So it took me forever to read. I went through half the season thinking that Tomon was a person or if it was another name for Mikey. And then it wasn't until, like, what's his name? One of his friends, Yamagishi, where he was, like, explaining everything. And thank God, because I was literally about to look it up on Google, like, who is Tomon? Like, why do they keep saying this, and why do I keep mixing it up with someone? Like, clearly I'm confused.
Okay.
And then he's like, oh, Tomon is short for Tokyo Manjiro Gang. And I was like, oh my God, that makes so much more sense. Why did I miss this in the earlier episodes? Or
Yeah, and Matt told me early enough in the series that if he wouldn't have told me that, I wouldn't have connected the two either. I'm like,
did you think it was a person?
I thought it was a whole separate entity. I thought, like, this Tokyo Manji and Tokyo Manji were completely separate things. I had no idea. Like, yeah,
okay, I'm glad I wasn't the only one.
I thought it was a whole, just because it was a little early yet, so I couldn't decide whether it was a person or another group.
Yeah, because it was in the first, 10 episodes, something like that.
Like, that's one thing they fell short on was they needed to fucking mansplain this to us.
Which they do, just way later.
Eventually, like, the second...
halfway through the season.
The second half, like, core 2, because, I mean...
Yeah,
it's pretty obvious that there was a core 2. I know we're pretty late in the game.
Yeah.
A little late in the game in covering this. But, like, there's definitely a core 2 because when Mr. Smarty Yamagashi, the one who has the one of Takemishi's best friends that has the little man bun thing going with long hair.
Yes.
Just so our listeners know who we're talking about. When he's given the breakdown of everything, like you were just explaining a minute ago, like that's when everything is spilled point blank. Like, oh, I wish I would have known that much earlier.
Yes, absolutely.
It's like you couldn't do this on episode 2, not episode 15.
Yeah, because if you break it down, it makes sense.
Yep.
Tokyo Man.
It was episode 12, actually. I remember. I was literally like, wow, this is really the halfway point of the season, and they're just now explaining things.
Yeah. So it would have been nice to know a little earlier.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
But, oh well. So, also, something else I'd like to talk about is the manji is the symbol for peace, which does get censored. And I think it's on Hulu, and it's not censored. But if you watch it on Crunchyroll, it is censored.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, interesting.
Because I was like, man, I think I've seen this. Because I've watched it on Hulu and I watched it on Crunchyroll. Like, I didn't finish it on Crunchyroll the first time, and then I finished it on Hulu. I'm like, man, I thought I'd seen this. So manji is the symbol for peace, which I think is kind of ironic because, it's essentially the Tokyo Peace Gang, and they want to take over the entire city because they're delinquents.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Sort of anti-hero-ish, but not quite.
Do you want to? I do have it pulled up on my page.
Yes.
You want me to?
Yeah.
All right. So for just our listeners to know, if this is throwing you through a loop, manji is the logo or the symbol for manji looks like the swastika, but it's the reversed mirrored version. So it's the good version, and the Nazis just took the mirrored and fucked it all up. But according to this page, originally, manji is a mirrored image of the ancient religious icon called the swastika symbol and has been used in Japan and many other countries. In Japan, it is used as a map symbol for temples. The meaning of manji, I guess this one goes on to talk about in 2017 to 2019, some teen girls were using it as some slang to mean awesome. According to this article, it is not confirmed that it truly means that way, because if you were to use it in today, which is to the end of 2022, it doesn't necessarily mean that anymore. So that was probably a very fast, cool thing to do.
Like a fad.
A fad, yes, thank you. I guess that's all this page really says.
All right.
I want to say it originated from Hindu beliefs. I know it's on a lot of Hindu temples.
Yeah, so what it really comes down to is the Nazis took the Hindu symbol of manji, flipped it so that it one everybody knows what the Nazi symbol looks like. Okay, so one goes clockwise, one goes counterclockwise, and if you don't know, one technically means peace, and the Nazi way means that they're going to take
evil,
over.
fucking evil.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have a good explanation except for fucking terrible.
Just to make things quick and simple. Yeah.
Yes. So that is why they censored it, because you can misconstrue it to be the wrong symbol. And I mean, I get it. It kind of sucks because, it just kind of sucks because it's not actually what it is. But here we are.
So there were, I really want to watch this season again because there's a lot of little things that I didn't really catch on until there were some times where I just wasn't really paying attention that much and I just rewatched the episode in general. But it was the time where he comes back and Hina's alive and everything's going great.
So the third time, technically
the third time he comes back.
Is it the second time?
I have to break it down. And where exactly are you going with this?
So he comes back after his original death. He comes back after Draken lives. And then, does he come back a third time? Yes, he comes back a third time. So I think he comes back 4 times total.
I mean, he's got to meet Draken in the prison. He meets He meets Draken in the prison, goes back, comes back, meets Draken in the prison again, and then goes back, and then comes back, and
then comes back as one of the leaders, one of the executives of Tomon.
Yes.
So, okay, cool.
I guess this would be the third time, yeah. So the third time he comes back and he's on the date with Hina.
Yep.
I remember watching the second time and I was like, this Hummer looks a little weird in the background. And then I saw the Hummer pass again on a side street. And I remember I was talking to my wife and I was like, that Hummer's following them. I know it. And then it goes to the scene where the Hummer turns its lights on and smashes into Hina and kills her again. God, that poor girl dies 6 times in this show. And I was like, I knew it. I knew they were being followed. And because there's something about everyone else is driving all these small cars, and here's this random Hummer, and I'm like, there's got to be something important about it.
Tokyo, where everybody's driving small vehicles, and mostly mopeds or something, just because it's easier.
Got to feel bad for Akun, just having to murk himself every time.
Yeah, he's got to find a way to kill himself
every time.
I'm glad you brought up Akun. For our listeners, Akun's the one with the pink red hair pompadour.
Or the shaved head.
Shaved head. Or, in the adult form.
Yep.
Akun really doesn't make an appearance on the second half of episodes 12 through 24.
None of them do until
the final episode. But even in the final episode, Akun's not in that crew.
They come in for the Mitsuya. Not Mitsuya, fuck.
Kiyomasa fight?
Yeah.
The one where he gets stabbed in the hand?
That's the last time you see them, though, until the very end.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird. But he... Takamichi.
I forgot that old thing.
Make sure you feed him.
Oh, mine's long dead.
Mine's been dead for, since the week I bought it. Takamichi is running around with Chifuyu.
Yes.
Running around with Chifuyu. So that's why his other friends really aren't there, is because now he's one, got his one friend that he's hanging out with, and 2, he's kind of on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, there's more important things to do right now than his side friends.
And Takamichi is more towards a member of Tomon. Well, he is a member of Tomon at this point, so that I feel like that might also be a thing where he's not really associating with too many people outside of Tomon right away. I
mean, they did make a small comment that after Takamichi became a Tomon member, the rest of his crew wanted to become Tomon.
Yep.
So I can see that. That would make sense why they're part of his crew in the future.
Yep.
But at that moment, after that fight where Takamichi gets stabbed in the hand, they're just kind of pushed off to the side because the main storyline is more focused on the gang fight, the gang relations anyway. So it makes sense. But I just thought it was kind of funny. We see all of the side characters in the final episode, but we don't see Akun at all.
I think there's going to be a reason for that in season 2.
I would hope so.
I don't think he was in. I think he was intentionally left out for a reason. I don't want to believe that he was just ignored and forgotten about. I think that there's a reason why Sendo's not in the last episode. Right?
Yeah, he can't just forget about his best friend. I feel like they're still best friends, and he will. Yeah, he could play a big part in season 2. I could see that.
I'm really excited for season 2.
Speaking of season 2, do you guys know when it's coming out?
You
Soon,
did
isn't
recently post something.
It is soon. It's very soon. It's January.
Yeah.
Oh shit! This is gonna be a winter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh damn! We're gonna launch this episode just in time.
Just in time. You're welcome.
There's no reason for this. Is just random.
It's 100% random. We
Okay,
just had
great.
a little bit of extra
Well,
time.
then we're gonna be well prepared for this season 2. Then
Yes.
Yes, so January 23 is when it's coming out. What's up, Alec?
I was gonna say, what's his name? I would like to see Osanai. Osanai brought back the guy who gets stabbed by Pa. Yeah, he gets
Pa.
stabbed by Pa. And
You
because
sure it's not Peh?
it's definitely not Pe, it's Pa.
yeah, Pa with Pe. They're very
Pa and Pe,
Close.
which are not even their names at all.
Yes.
I guess just nicknames. But the fact that they meet up with him in the future, and like I love how they do that that like side by side of, wow, he looks like this in the past and he looks like this in the future, and you can see where the overlap is, but it's just like, wow, how did he become this later on?
Yep.
I want to see him come back in season 2.
Yep.
I can see that. I mean, especially now that things have changed a little bit, so maybe he's not going to be a washed up push around.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he got his whole side stabbed. I mean, like that'll change you forever.
Yeah, I mean, if you're
I don't know. He's a delinquent, so getting stabbed is like a ritual, right?
Maybe.
I mean, if that restricts him to certain kinds of work, then that's gonna suck too. I mean, he still got stabbed.
I do find it funny that both Osanai essentially turns into the same thing Takemichi turns into, which is basically a nothing. Where
A
he-
bitch.
Yeah.
No,
Saying
he
sorry for everything, and yeah.
he just turns into
Over apologetic and no confidence, no
Yep.
self-esteem, just a broken individual. It's really sad to see that. And I mean, it happens. Life can break people down, and it's weird seeing it in the anime. It was kind of like slice of life kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that was one thing that I really liked about this, that there was no power suit besides Takemichi traveling in time, and he would fail. So that was nice too. Like,
Yes.
So something would happen, he'd jump back to the future, and you'd see that nothing dramatic has really changed. Is that what you're saying?
or the future that he wanted to happen didn't happen. So I kind of like that, where it was like he's learning that he can't do everything himself. One, and two, it takes more than one thing to actually change the future that he wants it to be.
Right.
One thing that kind of just kind of like what I was thinking of when I was watching this show, I was like, man, the only way he can get back if he shakes Naoto's hand, I just wouldn't do it. If I had a chance to start over 12 years ago and just like with the knowledge that I have now, like I would just stay there and just live out another 12 years and hopefully do things right that time. I would never go back.
Yeah, because what's truly stopping you if you just stay there and like your future self is just floating in, what do they call that?
Basically,
A suspension.
yeah, a suspension, infinite suspension until he comes back. But I mean, you do have those moments in which there's an accident, like what happened. What was that? The first time technically the second time he goes back because he.
Oh, he accidentally he turns around. Naoto's right there. Hey, nice to meet you. Oh no!
Oh yeah,
So-
he's just trying to hold Hina's hand, and he accidentally grabs her brother's hand, and then that's
Yeah.
what warps him back into the present day.
And Hina even makes a comment on that. She's like, what was the deal? We're on that roof. You shook my brother's hand, and then you just ran off. And it's just like, I wonder what like mental state flip he does.
Exactly. I think that's another thing that needs to be.
Well, they kind of
Talk
go
about-
into it where Hina is like, you go from being your normal self to being like this adult self. I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah.
They do talk about it, but at the same time, like, why is it so dramatic? Like, what's the big difference? What's the big change? Like,
You're gonna be different 12 years from now.
Yeah.
yeah, that's very true.
So
I remember who I was. I'm like, if I were to go back into that body with my mind, I'd probably laugh at myself the entire time.
because what, they're 15?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15-ish. 14, 15. Well,
Yeah, Draken's 15.
He's 26 in present day, so I think he's 14.
14.
It's 12 years in the
Takemichi
back.
goes back, he's 14.
Draken's 15. Everybody else is 14, except for
Mikey, who's a little bit younger.
no. Mikey is also the same age.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's
but I
trying
think
to run.
he's on the like he has the late birthday compared to everybody else.
Gotcha. Okay.
All I know is Draken's older than Mikey.
Yes.
Yes, and then Bonji is also older.
Oh, shit. There was an episode where they broke everyone's age down. I just don't remember it right now.
Well,
It was like a half filler, but it actually was very relevant.
yeah,
It was like
Bonji.
during that beach episode.
The beach scene. You got to have the mandatory beach scene.
So Baji was born in 90, so he would have been 15.
Baji, okay.
So, yeah, because he got held back a year. So him and Draken would have been the same age, and everybody else would have been a year younger.
Okay.
So, but, yeah, so I think, what were we even talking about? I completely forgot.
Ages.
But besides that, was there something to what we're...
The point of this was... like if you were to go back to that time, like the mental switches between an adult and a kid.
And then we were talking about how, you're going to mature / completely change from your 12-year-old younger self. Yeah, okay. So I mean, that kind of makes sense. Like when you were 14, 15, you're kind of a dumbass. We were all dumbasses.
Yeah.
Versus even if you're not super mature in your mid-20s, you're going to be more mature than you would be in your early teens.
Mm. I guess the way that the anime made me think was like after Takemichi let Auto Drive go back, like he'd turn into like this asshole.
Well, he kind of turns into a player because, he let Emma
almost
sort of kind of seduce him.
Right.
I don't think they would have actually done anything.
No, because, I mean, he still went back to the future and he was still a virgin, so
yes.
Maybe he would have had
or he just
a quick memory of, hey, I remember that one time.
Or he just blacked out and didn't remember it.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of those...
I think he would remember something like that.
You would think, but you would also think you would remember your friend getting stabbed. So...
Yeah. They were very wishy-washy on things to remember.
Mm-hmm. It almost has to be like a correlation event or somebody telling you that it happened. Then he's like, oh, yeah, these things happen. So
I was going to say, because... The only time Takemichi was able to remember anything was when he was borderline being explained everything, and then he had these, I don't want to say false memories, but like these false flashbacks of what is supposed to be currently true.
Yep.
So I guess he needed like some kind of fire under something to be started so that he can fake remember things.
He has ADHD on steroids.
Basically.
It's so many confusing things to start throwing into stuff.
There was a lot of unexplained material in this, and I guess that's older animes like Naruto, Dragon Ball Z, like they had like 50 episode seasons, and I think that helped explain a lot, and I feel like that's what, at least what I'm used to, is those long seasons where there's a bunch of filler episodes, but there's also a lot of explanation that goes on in those filler episodes.
They over-explain everything.
Yes. Whereas in these ones where it's like 12 episodes, 24 episodes, it really... They have to jam-pack everything into little bits. And I think that's why they did those like explanation episodes, like episode 12, where they're explaining the gangs for the first time.
I kind of like letting us decide, like kind of fill in the pieces. I don't want to be over-explained everything, especially in a more serious one like this, where it's like, I'm okay without either getting the information right away or just letting us kind of fill in the pieces. Almost like, kind of like a book where it's like, yes, you can explain a lot of things, but sometimes you don't have to, and that's fine.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, don't hold my hand the entire time.
Yep.
It's fun, and I feel accomplished when I put those pieces together.
Yep.
So, yeah, don't hold my hand. I like that. I like
it to an extent, but at the same time, I feel like this show left a lot of holes to be filled, and which I like. It adds to the mystery of the show. It makes you want to watch season 2 because you're like, well, I want to find out about this.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And it leaves that sense of suspense, but I feel like there were a lot of holes in this one, and I like that. I appreciate it. It's just I want to know a little bit more about everyone before they just start killing everybody off.
Well, who knows? Maybe we'll get more explanations in season 2 and beyond.
I'm very excited for it.
God, they left us the biggest fucking cliffhanger. So there's so much that needs to be explained.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so that is perfect. I think we should take a break real fast, and then we can get into what happened at the end of season 1. And now that we're back from our break, we had mentioned that we want to talk about the last episode. I specifically want to talk about the ending of the last episode. Do you think that he died?
Definitely no.
No? Okay, what about Alec?
I hope so, but no. I don't think he died. I think someone else gets shot. It could be Kiseki, it could be someone else in the room, or it could just be a random gunshot shot into the ceiling. But I don't think Takemichi dies. I think he's coming back in season 2.
I feel that Kiseki wanted to show that he was going to be a badass, and he wanted to be like, hey, I'm going to kill you. And then at the very last second, he aims it to the side and shoots to the side of his head
So you're
or
saying
whatever.
he's a little bitch.
But I think he wanted to scare him. I think he wanted to,
Well, he's already shot him. He shot him in the leg.
shot him in the leg. That's fine. That's not kill shot.
It could be if it hit him in the right spot of the thigh.
Oh yeah, sure.
The femoral artery, man.
There's a big artery in there.
He has tiny legs. So.
He does have tiny legs.
Skinny boy. But
No leg day.
I think Kiseki definitely wants control, and somehow he knows that our boy has a firm grip on the future, which also makes me think that Kiseki also knows about all this time jumping stuff, because I think he has an idea. I just want that to be true.
Yes, I agree, but he calls him Judas, so he thinks that he is basically a snitch, where he's ratting
Yep, I was gonna say
them
that
out to the cops, and he doesn't believe that Takemichi is just feigned ignorance, which is real ignorance, because the weird time traveling thing makes him forget everything. So that's what it is. But talk about a cliffhanger at the end of the episode. Damn.
Yeah, fucking pissed. I was like watching it, and then the screen goes blank, and then it goes
The gunshot.
The gunshot. Yep.
No, I mean, like, the gunshot happens, and then the episode just straight up stops. I'm like, that's not the end of the episode. There still needs to be another episode. You can't end.
Did you watch to see if there was going to be a little like ending scene kind of thing?
No, because that is the legit last second, because they do post-credit scenes like a minute or two prior to that whole final scene.
They're doing the post-credit scene while they're ending the episode.
Exactly. So that, like, everything is supposed to be so fluid. And I'm super fucking pissed because they never show Hina, and then they never show Akun. I'm like, there's still things that need to be sprinkled in before you finish off an entire series, and then
well, the series,
a season.
Okay.
Finish off a season, and then you still have so many questions.
He also doesn't have Naoto's number, so we don't know if Naoto is alive or not.
But
is
Naoto always calls him. So every time he's like,
That's true.
because the last time he time traveled, he's like, who is this? And then it's Naoto talking to him. So he didn't have it in the last time skip.
Right? Oh, okay. So with this being said, maybe that gunshot happens, and then maybe Naoto comes out of nowhere and fucking backwards
tackles him into coming back into the past.
Tornado kicks Kiseki and saves him or something like that.
Well,
I still want it to be a scare shot. I don't think it's a real shot. I want it to be a scare shot.
You do think it was Kiseki who shot the gun?
Kiseki definitely shot. Yeah. Oh, are you trying to say like somehow someone else shot a gun and Kiseki takes the wound?
Or anybody in the room, really? There was a lot of people in that room.
Maybe. I mean, there was.
Wasn't there only like one other person in that room?
No, another person.
No, there was the
walked up
Kiseki's.
He walked
henchman.
up to Kiseki and gave Kiseki the gun.
Yeah, I know. But that's when the
Bodyguards.
only other individual. No, there was multiple.
His henchman.
There was
Yeah,
multiple.
that's kind of what
Okay,
I was getting at.
I honestly don't remember. That was I didn't pay attention to the background, so.
I thought there was like at least 4 people in that room.
That's a lot of witnesses. I'm just saying. But anyway.
I thought they were all Kiseki's people. Or maybe I'm thinking of when they were in the room when they're all the elites are sitting at the table.
Maybe,
Yeah.
but
Maybe
there
I'm
was
confusing with that.
there was at least one person because he gave Kiseki the
Yeah, I know he got the gun handed to him. But,
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Oh, when he killed what's his name? The friend Shifuyu.
Shifuyu, there you go.
Shifuyu. When he killed him, I literally I gasped. I covered my mouth, and I was like, no, because I really liked him.
Mad.
He's a solid character. He really has just right on his side. Yeah, he's a delinquent, but he's like the most morally guided out of the delinquents.
Exactly. Chifuyu's my boy.
Yeah, I was really upset when he got killed. I was like, whoa.
He was going to be my number 2 favorite.
It's like, why'd you have to die? Yes.
But hey, if he finds Naoto, he can still go back and save. I mean, I feel like every single time he's like, I gotta go save this person and this person and this person and this person.
It just stacks.
It just keeps stacking. I think that's why he keeps failing, is because he keeps stacking them. But
yeah, he keeps making new friends.
No, come on. Your goals change all the time.
True. But as far as the ending of the last episode,
I thought it was great. I'm just saying.
I think someone else gets shot. I don't think it's Takamichi who gets shot again.
Okay. Well then, yeah. We'll just go from there.
Since you read a chapter further, you already know the answer?
I do, so I'm not going to say
damn
anything.
it,
Don't spoil. Don't spoil. I'm so excited.
I won't do that to you guys. But, Alec, we can kind of talk about your disdain for our main character.
Yes, so as far as Takamichi goes and a main character, I mean, there's plenty of crybaby main characters. I mean, think of Midoriya from My Hero Academia. I mean, he starts off such a crybaby, but he gains development, he gets fighting experience, and he becomes a total badass.
Yep.
Tamagotchi never has that epiphany. He never learns how to fight. He never becomes more than the crybaby hero, I'm saying with air quotes, because I don't believe he ever actually truly saves anyone. It's just because of his crybaby actions, it kind of causes everyone to pause and be like, wow, what's this dude crying about? And it just kind of puts them off ease, and he's not really saving them directly, but he is, I guess, saving them in a sense. I would not call him a crybaby hero. I would just leave him a crybaby. And I just feel like there's a lot more development that they can give Takamichi. So I mean, I'm kind of hoping that something bad happens to him, because dude needs to learn and develop growth, because it's just not there in season 1. So I'm really hoping it becomes there in season 2. But yeah, there's just no real character development to Takamichi. I mean, I was hoping that they were, he's in a gang. Teach him to fight. I mean, like, everyone else knows how to fight except Takamichi. He walks around looking at everyone and never fights.
Okay, that's
okay. I mean, that's once.
I mean, he definitely fights a little bit here and there.
He more is a participant in a fight than actually fights. Yes. I wouldn't say he's fighting anybody. Besides the one.
The only thing I wanted to say was the only reason he's given this hero title is because he's like the middleman, and he's like the glue between everyone else in his life. He makes sure everybody stays together, and I think that's the only reason he's the hero.
Yes. He
cries and makes other people feel bad and make them realize that, like, hey, our beef with each other is meaningless. Yes. So, like, let's look past this, forgive each other, because it's all good. Let bygones be bygones. And that's his purpose in this entire anime, is to make everybody realize that, like, we're friends because we're friends, not because of these little tiny sprinkles of bullshit.
I wouldn't call that heroic.
No.
He's the adult form of, hey, fuckhead.
Yeah.
Like, that's
hey,
basically...
whippersnapper.
Yes.
And that's... I mean, yes. But one thing I will say, I mean, this entire manga is 279 chapters.
Wow.
So It is significantly longer than what we've watched so far. So there is room for a lot of growth in Takamichi. I agree that, yes, he should know how to fight. But, I mean, that kind of makes him relatable in a sense. Like, I understand, yes, to be in a gang, you should know how to fight. But at least he knows how to take a punch. I mean, he has that going for him.
Quite a few beatings.
He kind of makes a mention to it when that one bully, Kiyomasu, is beating him up, and he's kind of thinking to himself, he's like, wow, I thought I was strong because I was hanging out with Mikey and Draken.
Yep.
But I'm not actually strong on my own. I just thought I was because I was hanging out with these strong guys.
Yep.
And I was hoping that realization would cause him to, like, get that workout montage and start learning how to do things. But maybe that'll come in season 2, and I'm really hopeful for it.
Maybe come in the future, because it really, I think from August to October 31st is really the only. So it's only been 2 months, 2.5 months.
Yeah, not much time.
The beginning of August to the end of October, from getting stabbed in the hand to getting the
first position. Not first position, not first leader. He's got first spot.
The commander of the first division.
Yeah, I thought he was commander of the third division. No, that was Kiski.
First.
It was
because
first.
he's taking over Baji's
That's right.
division.
Yeah, because when he became part of Manji, he was put under the second division group, and then he got upgraded to commander of the first division. Because
And you could tell by that future episode, he looked like he had become a badass, but he just couldn't remember it because he hadn't lived it in his current self.
So, Lance, do you remember what his position was?
What? Who?
In the future?
Ooh.
He wasn't treasurer.
No, what's...
They called him
what was
the executive
there we go.
Tomon.
Yeah.
So basically, he was in charge of Tomon.
Because Mickey was away and Draken had been executed.
Yeah.
Which we need explanations for.
Mikey hadn't been seen in a long time. Was it years?
Yeah, like 2 years.
And this seems to be consistent. Mikey just fucking disappears.
Yeah.
Yes.
So-
but I think he disappears the same time Draken gets executed.
That would make sense.
If I had to guess, that would correlate with each other.
First, Mikey through the explanation, first Mikey disappeared, and then Draken gets executed. So
Because he didn't have Mikey to protect him.
maybe, but that's the way it was explained. Because I watched that episode 3 times.
Yeah.
So I was very. I did pay attention to that part because, like, okay, why would Mikey leave first? Like, so that's my biggest question.
That would be weird. I will say it probably happened at like the same time.
It was
where
definitely-
like Mikey disappeared and Draken died in the same day.
Yeah. Maybe because Mikey wasn't around, that was their opportunity to take Draken out. So that's what I took it as.
Maybe. But so technically Takemichi got what he wanted, but he still didn't get the outcome he wanted.
Right.
So I think that's gonna like play a part into it he's gonna survive. Like he has to survive.
Yeah.
Like let's be completely honest. There's no way that they're gonna kill the main character and the only character that we know of that can go back in time.
Right.
To change the past to change the future.
There was an anime that did that, though. Was it Kill la Kill or...
No.
Definitely wasn't Kill la Kill.
But I think I know what you're
It
getting
starts
at.
with a K, where a main character dies and like they just continue the show, and I thought that was the coolest. God, it's in years.
This does
start
sound,
with a K.
This does sound familiar. I have never seen it, but I remember listening to other podcasts talking about that. Like, yeah, how do you just kill a main character and continue on like nothing happened, and just make a new main character?
Well, I didn't like this main character, so now I have a new one.
Yeah.
I have no idea, but
It has been done, so it can be done again.
Right.
that's wishful thinking on your part.
Yes.
I am just gonna go with no. But just to kind of get back to your thinking, Alec, is I think he has a lot of room for growth, which it can be kind of nice. Because
A lot of room for growth.
Yes.
yes,
So it's plenty to grow into.
and sorry, I'm kind of jumping around, but I think it'll kind of help revert what his goals are and try to be the leader of Tomon and being like, okay, well that didn't actually get me what I wanted. I need to make sure that Mikey and Draken stay alive along with all my other friends. Like that's going to be his goal.
Do you think that... I don't know why that bubble just formed in my throat. Do you think that Sendo is dead in the future because he's the only friend that doesn't make an appearance in the last episode?
So I think...
Ascendo.
Akun.
Akun. Just
Akun.
for listeners.
Yes.
I think what's going to happen is Takemichi has to survive. Okay, we got that. So then I think the same series of events is going to happen where Akun kills Hina.
Yep.
And then Takemichi goes back in time again.
Yep.
I think that's like everything's going to keep repeating no matter what until he actually gets the ending that he is supposed to have.
So you think he can rewrite fate? I mean, that's the whole premise of the show is, can I change fate? And every time he loses. Do you think there's going to be a point where he can win?
I think there has to be.
I think the way that this anime has been started is the final episode, the happy ending, is going to be him ending up with Hina as adults.
I think he never, like you guys are saying, where he just doesn't go back. I think that is the only way he is going to get the ending he won, is by not skipping 12 years.
I fully agree with that. I think he needs to stay in the past in order to change the future, because he's going to keep reverting back to his childish mentality, because he's not going to have that adult self in him to keep things going.
Yeah, so somehow he's going to need... Yeah, so he's going to have to meet up with the brother, Tell him, protect my body. Naoto, thank you. Protect my body in the meantime. I'm going to be in the past long term. I'm going to be there as long as I... Because in the final couple episodes, dude was in there for like 2 solid weeks.
Yeah.
He was there a while.
Actually, it wasn't the last one.
Longer than 2 weeks. But there was that one moment, it was like 2 weeks later. Like, remember, your body's still in the future just sitting there doing something. It's
Sword Art Online kind of things.
Do you think it can die?
No.
It's in a suspended state, but do you think it can become malnourished and die, and then his past self ends?
I mean, if you want to get realistic, technically, yeah.
I don't think it matters. Anime logic. We're just going to go with that. Where I don't think he can die because his self is in the past.
I wish they would just say your body would just go on autopilot and you react the way that you need to live. I could have agreed with that, but they said you were suspended in this whatever
pseudo space kind of thing.
I forget the fucking phrase they use. But yeah, that they're suspended in this phase and then they just fucking sit there.
Yep.
Which makes it sound like SAO.
Mm-hmm. Yes. He got fired and everything because he's like, you didn't show up for work for 2 weeks. Of course we fired you.
Yeah.
I thought that line was so great. Like, what did you expect to happen? You haven't been here.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So I guess I would have liked a little bit of anime. Like I said, I would have liked a little bit of anime logic to be sprinkled in there and said like, yeah, there was some autopilot going on.
Yeah, they made it realistic and unrealistic at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, I can buy either story.
Yep.
Especially if Naoto was just sitting there supporting him. But of course, he would have needed to be on IV and all that fun stuff, just like SAO. But he wasn't.
He was just laying in bed.
No, anime logic. It's okay. Yeah. He gets nutrition from his past self.
Yeah, I was about to say that too. Yeah. As long as he's eating in the past, he's good in the future.
Yes.
I just found it weird that they made a point to show Yamamoto and Makoto Suzuki.
Describe them real quick for our listeners.
So Yamamoto was the one with long hair who couldn't take a punch. He was the one that everyone was afraid of getting in a fight because he did not know how to fight.
The blonde-haired guy.
Long blonde hair. Suzuki was the one with black hair, kind of slicked back. And he was in the gang too in the future. And Yamagachi seemed like his right-hand man. I mean, he even had scars on his eyes showing that he had been in some conflicts.
So
yeah, he did have a scar.
Also to describe them, they're the ones that do the Ginyu Force things in the fight in the past. Yes.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I died laughing at that. I'm a huge DBZ fan. So as soon as I saw the Ginyu Force symbol, I was livid. I was like, yeah! Well, not livid. I was just animated. I was like, yes!
Animated. Also, is this a normal thing for Japanese children? Is just do poses? I would really like to know this.
I think it's just a normal thing for kids to... Have you not watched like anything? Like kids do this all the time.
Did you not do that when you were a kid? I mean,
we did not do these things. But
I mean, the classic, the reason I was made fun of when I was a kid was because it wasn't because I liked anime. It was because I acted it out during recess.
He Naruto ran everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. I mean, that was my favorite thing to do, and that's why I was considered weird. It wasn't because I liked it. Everybody likes Naruto. It's just if you take it too far, I mean, that's when you kind of have to draw a line.
Yeah.
And these kids drew that line. They did Ginyu Force during an actual street fight. I mean...
Yeah, but you did it in front of your friends, so it's okay. But, I mean, Lance and I were not like that. We kind of blended in very well.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, we were like emo/punk, so we were quiet, but we were also like, yeah, we know...
I may have done Spirit Gun too many times.
Don't worry, I was doing that all the time. But me and Matt were like amongst the most physically fit kids of our grade, but we were also emo, so we were quiet and nerdy.
Yes.
So yeah, really strange. We were the really strong nerds.
Oh, yes. Gotcha.
That was who we were.
Yeah, we were the ones that played sports and then spent all of our free time playing Pokemon and playing video games and watching anime when we were growing up. So, yes, kind of best of both worlds, I guess.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it's a strange combination. You don't see our scenario that often.
No, not really.
Especially not in the early 2000s.
Yeah. It's fun.
But so basically what I was going about with that is that you see these three of his four best friends in the last episode.
Yep.
But you don't see Akun, who has made an appearance in all of the previous future scenarios, but not this one. And I think that there is a direct link to season 2 and Akun. I don't think he was just forgotten about. I think he was intentionally left out for something else.
Okay.
Yep, and I'm 100% on board with that because I think we're going to follow Akun with what we've followed him in the past.
Yep.
And the past 2 times he's kind of killed himself. The past time...
he definitely killed himself.
Yeah, well,
he jumped off a building and crashed a car into another car. Like, he killed himself.
Right. I mean, the second time when he crashed a car, he didn't, intentionally kill him. Or whatever. It was a suicide mission.
He did, yes.
Yeah,
okay, never mind.
He kamikaze into that car.
Kamikaze. I can't defend that.
He was he's like, you ruined it. You're not in the car. This ruins everything. And Hanma said the same thing. Oh, you're not in the car. That kind of ruins the whole plan.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit.
So, to the previous point, I do 100% believe that the reason Akun is not part of this scenario right now is because he's in the middle of trying to kill Hina.
That's a good one.
I think episode 1 of season 2 is going to open up with, what I was trying to say, it was the fake shot of
somehow
Kiseki.
Takemichi escaping the scenario.
Right. So at the same exact time that Takemichi and Kiseki are at gunpoint with each other, on the side, Akun is in the middle of killing Hina again.
Okay.
And then it's going to restart everything, and then we're going to have to jump back into the same old song and dance.
Okay. Yeah. It's...
What's your theory, Matt?
So I think somehow Takemichi is going to escape this situation that he's ran into. And then in order for him to essentially time loop himself, like what Lance was saying, maybe not right away, that Akun is going to kill Hina. And so Takemichi is going to find Naoto, right?
Naoto.
Okay. Takemichi is going to find...
you're pointing at your toe and now, toe, do it.
Yes, that's a great name.
Dumb. I told you that the first time, and it's still dumb the second.
You stole it from him. You tried to take credit. That's great.
Dumb. Terrible. Anyway, then it's also dumb. But I think that after Hina dies again in front of him, is when he is going to find Takemichi is going to find Naoto and go back in time, but his goals are going to change where he realizes that Mikey is the key to everything, not becoming the leader of Tomon, because he's already been the leader of Tomon and it didn't change anything.
Yeah, I mean, they need to stop Mikey from fucking disappearing and everything's going to start to settle out again.
Yep.
Can I offer a theory that I definitely want recorded because this is my prediction?
Okay.
Your hypothesis?
Takemichi is going to die and everything's going to be good.
Yes. Other than that, the ideal ending of Takemichi. But what I actually think is going to happen, I don't think it's going to be Naoto that saves Takemichi.
Okay.
I think it's going to be Akun. I think Akun's going to finally stand up for himself and try to fight against Kiseki. Because in every single future scenario, 1, he pushes Takemichi in front of the train. 2, he kills himself because Takemichi's scaring the hell out of him. 3, he kills himself.
Not because Takemichi, because
Kiseki is...
Because Kiseki is scaring.
Yes.
It's always because of Kiseki, not because Takemichi.
And
wait, did I say Takemichi?
You said Takemichi.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I take it. So, second, he jumps off the building because Kiseki is scaring him.
We were jumping.
But if you remember... Akun thinks that Takemichi can do something about him killing himself. The first time. Because remember,
somehow
he talks about how he says things that are weird, something along those lines. I don't remember exactly what he said, but he's basically like, you had to have known something. And so me killing myself is going to make for a better future. Something along those lines.
They make way too many small drips in this anime that somebody knows something or somebody's leaning towards something, which is why I think that Kiseki knows.
Mikey thinks so too.
Or Mikey, even when Mikey was on the roof. When he was on the roof after Draken's surgery, he's like, so you knew that something was going to happen before it happened. Why was that? And then they played it off childishly. I'm like,
I mean, they are children.
They were children.
So.
It's like,
he was like, wait, what are you wearing?
You were right there. Don't stop.
So you think every timeline somebody knows that he went from the future to the past?
I think multiple people might know.
I think Kisaki's catching on because his personality keeps switching back and forth, and I think that's why I think Kisaki can either travel back in the future or he's caught on that Takamichi's traveling back because he's like, wait, your personality keeps changing and you don't remember things, so you're clearly from the future.
Okay, I'm so glad you said that because as soon as you started talking, I'm like, oh, I'm exactly on the same thought.
Okay, we're on the same page.
Right, because like, yeah, you can be your immature past self, or as soon as he notices that the slightest change in personality has changed, I'm like, okay,
something's weird.
Now something's changed. Now is when I can react.
That'd be crazy, and it'd be super realistic. I kind of like that. I really do like that.
It'd be challenging as fuck to write and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like, I like that concept for sure.
Yeah, I agree. So keep going.
So that's why I think that that Akun is the one who saves Takamichi in the first episode of season 2, because I think this is the first future circumstance where he's actually above killing himself because of Kisaki. I think he's going to stand up and be like, no, I'm done being scared by you. I'm going to do something about it because you're threatening the life of my best friend.
I would like that so much.
I would love it.
Yeah, it's good character building and arc in a character. Yeah, that's really good. I think that would be really good writing. I could potentially see something later, like
I would like to see
taking a little bit more.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would like Akun to do one more death, and
maybe
then
you want to see him die again. I want to see Akun die one more time.
Yeah, as dark as that sounds, I want to see Akun fuck up his life one more time because of Kisaki.
Yeah, maybe Kisaki blows up the building when Hina and Kisaki are like, Akun has he's a stylist now, and he's, I don't know, cutting Hina's hair, and then the building blows up right in front of
because it's got to be some sort of suicide deal. Maybe. I mean, last time was suicide.
But if every single time changes, then it would make sense that they die. Like, he gets killed instead of either killing himself or dying in the result of something he did.
Right.
Do you think that Akun is the one driving the truck in the first 2 Hina deaths?
No, because they explain that Akun was the one that pushed. No, yes, because
he pushed him after they had already died.
Yes. No. Okay, so Hina died.
Yep.
Because of the car accident.
Yep. And then Akun pushes.
Okay, so he couldn't have killed himself.
Right.
In that scenario.
I mean, unless he was a cripple and he survived the crash.
No,
of some sorts.
No. So
we would like to assume that everyone in that car crash died, just like in version 2 of Hina.
Well, I think they make mention that everybody dies, including a bystander named Hina.
Tachibana, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, then I revert. I do remember that. I revert that statement then. So it definitely wasn't Akun the first 2 Hina deaths. Mm-hmm. But
the first Hina death.
Well, the first 2, because the first one he kills both Naoto and Hina. The second one he just kills Hina because Naoto's now a cop. And then the third one,
okay, I see what you're getting
Hina
at.
lives because they're not involved at all.
Right.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So now, Akun dies a different way every time. Mm-hmm. So I think him getting killed will be one, and then Alec, like you said, he finally sticks up to the Kisaki and survives. I think that'll be the last time, and then I don't know, something crazy will happen. I'm not sure.
I think that's gonna be the finale. Is Akun sticking up?
So you think all of season, like he'll make it all the way through season 3 potentially, and then
I think 3 might be a stretch. I think this might be I think 2.
Well. It'll make sense when I talk about it in Manga Mentions.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, just to refresh everything, I think Akun is going to do one more death.
Yep.
And then Takamichi is going to go back and change a little bit more. And then that's going to be the last time. And then the next time Akun comes up in the future reference is going to be the changing point where everything is happy-go-lucky, happy ending.
So you think he's going to come back in time technically 2 more times. So after this time, and then he'll come back he'll go into the future. It won't be how he wants it to be. And then Akun will be alive. So then Takemichi can go back in time one more time and then live his life through as if he never was in this future.
Maybe.
Okay.
Makes sense. I can see that. It's a good theory.
I'm going to go grab one more beer.
Yeah, I need one too. One thing that our listeners, for anybody that usually listens to our podcast, they know that we always talk about our favorite episodes, favorite moments, and we haven't really talked about that yet. So, Lance, you want to give us a favorite moment or episode?
Yeah, so my favorite moment of this entire series is when Takemichi is saving Draken from death, when he's dragging him away from a fight.
Okay.
And he runs into Kiyomasa.
Okay.
And he gets into that fight. And then Kiyomasa or one of his henchmen, whatever, pull out a blade.
It's Kiyomasa. Yeah.
It is Kiyomasa?
Yep.
So Takemichi's ready to fucking throw down and fucking takes a blade right into the middle of his hand in the middle of nowhere.
I love how his hand's just open when he's getting ready to punch.
Yeah, exactly. He just takes it. And then not only does Kiyomasa put the blade in, but he also lets go.
Yep.
And then Takemichi's the one that has to rip the blade out of his own hand and then carry on the fight. Like, I thought that was kind of cool. But just the fact that he got stabbed in the hand in the middle of a fight.
And then just giant scream.
Yeah. That was my favorite part.
Okay.
That's my favorite scene of, like, pretty much the entire first 24 episodes.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was a really good one. I'll have more to say after Alec gives his.
Ooh.
Gotcha. See, I am a sucker for giant battle royale scenes, so I loved the bloody Halloween fight, especially his part where Kazutora just annihilates the ref at the very beginning of the episode.
Fucking love that part.
I loved it. I was like, here's this guy, this big boss. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna referee this shit. And then Kazutora's like, I don't even care about you, and just decks him like multiple times. Like, we're here to kill all you guys. Like, what do you mean?
This is a street fight.
Yeah, like he kind of like opened everyone's eyes. Like, guys, this is a lot more serious. This isn't a showdown. Like, this is a freaking war.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing?
Yep.
And I just thought that was just a really intense moment. Everyone just starts screaming and just running at each other. I love that entire fight. Just seeing Draken just go at Hanma, Mikey just throwing hands with everybody. And, I mean, it was just a really just get-together moment where you got to see everybody at their best. That's what I really loved about the Bloody Halloween episode.
Yep, I will agree with that one. It is a really good one. I think one of the ones I remember the most is actually from earlier of what Lance said, which is actually when Hina kisses Takemichi.
That's
so,
one of your favorite scenes?
But
Yes.
did she kiss him though? If you look, those lips never touch.
It's a 14-year-old kiss. We'll go with that one.
Okay.
And I just like the premise of that part of the episode where it's like, hey, I like you for who you are. I want you to be you. Like, I understand you look up to your friends and your friends are awesome, but I don't care about that. I care about you. And I think that's a really powerful point because I feel like that's going to drive all of what Takemichi does.
Right.
And it kind of does because it's like, you know what? I don't care about basically Tomon or anything else. I care about you, as in Hina, living. And even though we don't become a thing or are a thing in the future, you living makes the world a better place. And yes, he realized that in the future, but it kind of just drove that point home more that Hina basically liked Takemichi as who he was, as this crybaby hero, as they call him, where, he's not Mikey, he's not Draken, he's not even any of his other friends who can kind of actually do something. He's just him. And I think that's really important for the whole series, where he's just himself, and that's what matters.
I like that.
And it's a good message for everybody individually, too. Like, stop trying to act like somebody else. Be who you are. Be who you want to be.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good ones. I find it hilarious that like Mikey falling asleep on Banji's bike, which I also find hilarious that they're all driving motorcycles at like 14.
Exactly.
I was really confused this whole time. I'm like, are the driving laws different in Japan? I don't actually know that. And I even looked it up, and you can drive at 16, but they have to be motorcycles. You can't drive a car at 16, but you can drive motorcycles. But they are still all under 16. And then I realized, wait a minute, these are all delinquents and they're killing each other. Why would they care about the laws of driving a motorcycle?
Okay, that's a good point. I was going to say, otherwise, I think these are all borderline mopeds. Like, I know Mikey's driving a straight moped.
Bike. In the beginning,
yeah, young Mikey's driving a moped. But I think
he's driving...
As they grow older, I think they're driving higher-end mopeds.
Yeah, he's got that CBT 250cc. What's up?
That is essentially a moped.
Yeah, just the more letters and numbers you throw into the mix, the better.
I loved it. I was dying every time.
As somebody who has ridden and rides bikes, a 250 is essentially a moped.
Yeah.
I don't care what you call it. It's a moped.
They were making such a big scene about it. I'm sitting there dying the whole time. I'm like, oh my god, even 14-year-old me would be impressed by this. But like, as an adult, like I can't accept this.
that is what you learn or what you ride to learn how to ride a bike, a 250.
But they're 14. They thought they were so badass.
Well, didn't Pa? What was it? A 450?
I don't know.
A 400?
I did not pay attention.
He had something that was bigger than everybody else's, which makes it funny because then he's like, I'm going to race all of you to the shrine. And it's like, well, of course you're going to win. You have the bigger bike.
And you got Mikey who's driving a like 50cc moped.
Well, Mikey's on the back of Banji's bike, on Banji's moped motorcycle, falling asleep, racing to the shrine. So yeah, it was so funny because
but as a delinquent, that is probably the best they're gonna get.
Especially at that age.
Honestly, bikes are expensive, so. Yeah. And I can't imagine how much they are in Japan, where you're on an island, so everything's going to be astronomically more expensive.
Oh, everything's more expensive. Japan's cost of living is insane.
Yes, I mean I still want to go.
Oh, I'd love to go. I would love. That's my dream, is to one day go to Japan and at least spend 2 weeks there. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, to visit. Maybe not so much to live.
Not to live, but 100% visit.
Visit for sure, yeah.
Granted, Lance and I have had this discussion in a podcast before where we talk about how much we want to go to Japan. So
I've talked to my wife 1,000 times. I was like, if we ever win the Powerball or anything, she's like, where would you move? I was like, Japan, 100%. I would move to either Kyoto or Tokyo. I love Japanese culture. I'm not a total otaku or anything like that, but like I genuinely love Japanese culture, and I would love to be a part of that technology center and just lifestyle in general. I think, especially how it's relayed in anime, especially like scenes like this show where it actually shows you real life Japan. I love it, absolutely.
Yes, yeah, I agree. It's awesome. Can't wait to one day go there.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 2026 in my nearest future.
Well, Lance, you're not allowed to go by yourself, so.
No, that's for sure. I wouldn't want to go there without another nerdy friend or something. So that's for sure.
Sorry, but your wife doesn't count. So.
No. At least not yet. We'll see.
No.
Anime lounge group vacation, maybe, in the near future?
There'll be a live episode in Nihongo.
That would be awesome.
Yes.
One day.
But do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I would love to hear the differences between the anime and the manga. I really would, because I know some shows are similar, but I want to know the difference between how it was read and how it's seen.
Yeah, I'm tapped out on the anime, so I'm good.
So, we want to go with manga mentions. NANI? All right, one thing I will say is it is crazy how much they stick to the manga.
Really?
Yes. This is probably the shortest amount of notes I've taken on a 24-episode manga.
Wow.
Or a 24-episode anime, excuse me.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
For our listeners, the anime ends on chapter 73. So as I mentioned to everybody, I would continue on the ending of the chapter and just kind of continue from there. So I would start from 73 and work your way through.
All right, so you were basically saying, for our listeners, I would start on this chapter and continue on.
Yep. Because for our listeners, I would recommend to start on chapter 73 because you can kind of relive the ending of the episode, the last episode, and work your way forward. It's a good reminder of how it stopped, and then you just kind of work your way through. And also, I will start chronologically just because obviously that's how I'm going to write my notes, because I'm going to write it as I'm reading through the manga. So we're going to go all the way in the beginning. So you remember that in the first couple episodes where you see those kids scratching up that rich person's car and Takemichi gets blamed for it?
Yeah.
Well, in the manga, it's Takemichi that does it, where he's basically like, yes.
Oh.
Where he's jealous of this rich person owning this car, and he's like, fuck this dude, and just scratches the shit out of this car.
Wow.
Going back to his delinquent ways.
Oh, yeah, definitely delinquent days. So that was the biggest thing in the beginning. And then, so during the fight, in the fighting ring, you remember how Akun brings that knife to the fighting ring to say that he's going to stab Kiyomasa. Mm-hmm. Well, he doesn't actually bring the knife in the scenario in the manga. He just says, in the future, I would bring a knife so that I could, or not in the future, the next time, if they were to keep being slaves, he would bring a knife and stab Kiyomasa the next time. So it's basically the anime skipping through some stuff, but not really changing anything, because the premise is still there.
Okay.
So he didn't actually bring the knife, but he wants to. Kind of
yes.
thing.
Yep.
Okay.
He has the desire to bring a knife to stab Kiyomasa so they're not slaves, instead of in the instance in the anime where he brought the knife because he doesn't want to be a slave to Kiyomasa.
Well, they also say in the anime, they're like, Akun went to jail because he stabbed a kid at the fight pits, and that's when he changed, that's when Takemichi changed the past.
Yeah, so it's basically speeding up the timeline is all it really was, or would have been, if things hadn't changed. But because Takemichi basically sacrificed himself, that past, or that future didn't happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And as I had mentioned earlier, you see the Manji symbols on the bikes, and you see it on all their jackets. It's just very prevalent in Tomon's representation. So when the fight between Kiyomasa and Takemichi happen again, where Takemichi gets stabbed in the hand, instead of Draken, Emma, and Hina all betting different amounts, they all bet 1 million yen each on Takemichi.
Okay.
So I want to say that's like $100,000, give or take. They obviously aren't actually betting that because nothing's going to happen, but it's just symbolism that, you know, they trust Takemichi to win that much.
Right.
You know, those guys never paid up.
No, what assholes. They ran away. One thing that was kind of weird in the manga that they explained in the anime was when the awkward scene where Naoto is driving Takemichi and Hina to the park / river. Mm-hmm. And Naoto stops on the side of the road. Is like, you know what? I got work to do. I'm going. You can do whatever you want. I don't care. But in the anime, in the manga, it's Naoto is driving, and then they are on the boardwalk, and he's just not there anymore. Like he just disappears.
He's just gone.
He's just gone. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Let's be honest, he doesn't matter, but they give explanation in the anime, and they give zero explanation in the manga.
Okay. I guess, that sounds nicer.
It is nice, and I also think it's funny that I watched I watched the anime first, and then I was like, wait, what happened to Naoto? Like, he was just there, and then he wasn't there anymore. Then after that, so it was October 20th when Takemichi meets with Draken in the prison. So, 11 days before Bloody Halloween? Just to kind of give timeline information. They say it in the manga. I figured I'd let everybody else know. Then you find out that Takemichi wants to be the leader of Tomon, not to run Tomon, but to basically tear it apart. Like, he wants to be the leader of Tomon, and then he wants to just say, you know what? Tomon's not a thing anymore.
Like disbanding?
Yeah, he wants to disband Tomon after he becomes the leader of Tomon.
Okay, that's pretty much the opposite. I thought he wanted to be the leader so that he can neutralize it.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I thought. And in the manga, he wants to disband Tomon, and that's why he wants to be the leader.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
It makes a little more sense because, if Tomon doesn't exist, they can't become evil.
Exactly, yeah. I'm totally on board with that.
Let's see. You find out why Baji is banned from Tomon meetings, and it is because he essentially tries to fight everybody. He brings infighting within Tomon. So he's no longer allowed to show up to the meetings.
Okay, makes sense.
I was always curious, the first time I watched it without reading, I'm like, well, what did he do that he was banned? What happened?
I just assumed he was an asshole.
Yeah, I was under the same thought.
Basically, he's an asshole. He didn't like what was... I feel like he didn't appreciate what was happening within Tomon, so he just tried fighting everybody so that Tomon would stay what it was.
Right.
They asked Banji if he was on house arrest or not. When he showed up to the meeting, they were like, "What are you doing here? Aren't you on house arrest?" And he was like, "Nope." I just started punching Takemichi.
Okay, well, that's a little different because Baji was not arrested.
Yeah. No, he was arrested. They were both arrested, yes.
Arrested, but he wasn't, in prison.
Or in juvie
or any of the sorts.
Banji was never incarcerated. But when he showed up, everybody was confused because they thought he was on house arrest.
Okay. So
that was definitely not mentioned in the anime.
Kids that didn't know the difference, basically.
Basically, yes.
Okay. Or didn't know better.
So then when Mikey is talking about founding Tomon, you see 6 shadows versus... so it's just foreshadowing on how many people were actually involved in the...
original gang?
Like the founding?
How many people were a part of the founding of Tomon. Okay. So it's just a visual representation of information that we already know because we watched the anime.
As opposed to that picture taken?
So this happened before we see the picture.
Oh, okay.
So we don't actually know and technically we don't know what the representation of that picture is. We just know that it's a picture with a group of kids. Right. So yeah, we could assume that that's the founding individuals, but that's doesn't necessarily need to be true either.
Right.
So I was gonna say that picture was the first time that I had noticed that the manji symbol wasn't there, because on the flag when they're sitting in front of it, it's like the two left and the right side have their little Tokyo manji or their Tokyo symbols, but the entire middle is blank. Whereas I had seen it before that has the reverse swastika in it.
Yep, the manji symbol.
Yep.
And then I have another note, and I have no idea what it means, so I'm not even going to bother putting it.
Can I read it?
So I can say it. So I wrote, during the second meeting with Draken, he tells Takemichi that Kazutora kills Denji and Mikey kills Kazutora. I'm like...
You sasaid Denji?
Yeah.
Who's Denji? Like Chainsaw Denji?
Yeah, no, not... It's got to be... You know what? I bet you it auto-corrected to Denji because...
Oh, because your notes have been...
Because I've been talking about... Because I had written Baji, which is... We already knew that, so I don't know what that last note is, so you can just get rid of it.
Okay.
Yeah,
that part was also mentioned in the anime then.
Yeah, that we 100% know that happened. So I have no idea what's going on with that one. Yeah, it not really. Nothing of significance changed nothing of real significance changed between the anime and the manga, which is crazy to see because, I mean, typically that few notes happens in like a 12 episode anime, not a 24 episode anime. So they did a really good job. Granted, they also covered 73 chapters in 24 episodes. So they had a lot of content to cover in those episodes.
Okay.
So,
do you know how many chapters are out at the moment?
279.
Okay, I was gonna say because I'm pretty sure there's a high 200, and if we didn't even break 100. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're at like what 3? We're at technically at the end of season 1. We're at chapter 73, correct?
Yep.
Wow, so there's still so much more.
So if we were to follow this linear program,
we
can have 3 to 4 seasons of this shit.
It'd be 4 seasons. It's just under 4 seasons.
It's insane.
So Tokyo Revengers is one of those ones where we're going to keep an eye on it and make sure that like we watch every. Do you think 4 seasons are going to come from this?
It would not surprise me. I would not be shocked if four because what they could do is like make an episode or 2 of what happened at the end or something crazy like that. Whatever the ending is. Let's say we have this happy ending. You could just have a continuation of the happy ending and make it to finish season 4. Or you make season 4 like 22 episodes or something like that instead of 24 episodes. So
I wouldn't be surprised if the following seasons turn into 12 episode seasons. Kind of like how animes tend to turn into lately. But at the same time, if there is so much more manga to cover,
almost 300 chapters in manga,
like 3 times more. Yeah, there's a lot of information to cover, and I would really, really wish that they don't skip a lot.
Yes, if they stay true to the pacing that they did, it would be amazing because if you stick true to the original source, typically the finished product in the anime is significantly better.
Okay.
Typically. I mean, we've been doing this for what, a year and a half now? Mm-hmm. And when anime seems weird is when they start going way off into left field compared to the original source. Whether the original source is a light novel or a manga, it doesn't really matter. Once they start kind of diverting from that is when things start getting either confusing or it's just weird. Wouldn't you agree?
I no, 100% agree because we've seen this with our latest series with Tokyo Ghoul.
Yep.
And the most two dramatic one we talked about recently as well is the little kids.
Promised Neverland. Granted, that wasn't recently. But yes, I would agree with that. Like,
and then even I wouldn't say worse yet, but equally as fucked up is
Twin Stars.
Twin Stars, thank you.
Yeah, when we had to change our format in our episode because we were like, yeah, it's way too different. So and I mean, Alec, you're kind of an outside viewer and an insider. Like, isn't it? From what you've noticed, things can be weird in an anime where it's like, oh, that's a lot of information that they either didn't put in or...
Yes, so, God, I've been watching anime for nearly my entire life. So, I've read a few mangas, and yeah, I can definitely attest that things start to get real. You notice, the viewer definitely notices, they're like, well, that was a left turn. Where did that come from? And that's usually when I turn to manga to be like, is this in there? Is this factual? Like, I don't know. But one theme that I've noticed is that a lot of these animes where they're only like 12, 24 episodes a season, they stay true to the manga pretty well. And I kind of like that.
Not only that, but I feel like the more newer stuff today, like today's anime is a lot more on point. Matt, you gave a face.
Yes.
It's super hit and miss.
Oh, okay.
Like I said, we've been doing this to the point where yes and no, where there's some I guess Ari Ferretta started getting weird. Plunderer started getting weird.
Oh,
trying to think of
I was gonna say the stuff that we've been covering, a lot of
Bleach
most seems to be on point, but
Bleach was kind of.
I guess future stuff seems to be off.
Let's see. I wouldn't say Promised Neverland is really that old. Didn't that come out like a year and a half ago?
2017?
I think 16
No,
is one
season 2.
Yeah, I was gonna say season 1.
Season 2 was like 2020, 2021.
19.
Was it really that? No, it was older than that.
Quick Google search.
Yeah. No, see, I'm like, it can't be that. It might be that long.
21.
Season 2 came out in 21?
Yep.
I've not seen season 2 yet.
What?
March of 21.
I did not realize it was that new.
I stopped watching that years
That means
ago.
we covered it pretty fresh when we covered. Damn. Okay.
Original air date, January 8th, 21. And we covered it in English air date, April 21. And we covered it this year.
22.
Yeah, we covered it. So it was like about a year old.
Yeah.
A little over a year old when we covered it.
Okay, so we weren't far off.
Season 1 was 2019. I did not realize that.
Yes. Season 1 was 19.
You know what? No, I
thought it was
You
older.
told me to start watching. Okay, so I
I told you to watch season 1.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, I bought my house, and then I was in my basement working out, and that's when I started watching it. Okay,
Yep.
Now all these memories are starting to come.
You're just working out, and you're like, oh, you know, it'd be good after these reps watching children go through hell.
I'm going through hell. They need to go through hell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. Now all these memories are coming back.
So yes, it came out last year as in 2021. So, and that's really not that long ago. And that was drastically different.
Oh, yeah.
Like I looked at it, 148 chapters missed.
Doesn't even touch anything. Yeah.
Yes. I covered 148 chapters in 2 weeks.
That's a large block of data.
It was,
You were telling two different stories. That's all it was.
Really?
Yeah.
No, it was
almost.
you were telling the beginning and the end of a story without telling the middle of a story and changing the end of a story.
Yeah.
Wild. Okay, yeah, I haven't looked into the Promised Neverland manga at all.
So apparently you need to listen to our Promised Neverland episode.
I have not listened to the Promised Neverland episode.
It's a good, if you need to know, Matt covers it, and they're definitely worth the listen.
I will say, because I had so much content to cover in a short period of time, I skip a lot. Just because there was no way I was going to cover 150 chapters in 2 weeks.
Wow. So Promised Neverland is on my rewatch list because I haven't seen season 2 yet. So I want to rewatch season 1 and then watch season 2.
So like I tell people, if you watch season 2 by itself without knowing anything of the manga, it is fine.
It's just fine. It's good.
It's
it's a good anime.
Compared to season 1, it's terrible. But season 2 on its own is fine. There's nothing truly wrong like you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. There's a real arc to season 2. Mm-hmm. Compared to season 1, you're like, what the fuck just happened? So watch season 2 and then listen to our episode.
Okay.
I tell people that all the time. If you like Promised Neverland season 1, you will be disappointed in season 2 only because it is kind of off. When you watch it.
There's information missing and you know it. And as you're watching the anime, it's really towards the end. It's like you've skipped a whole portion. I need to know why you skipped portion. As a viewer, it's fine. It's fine. It's a good anime. Point blank, it's a good anime. But knowing that the manga's better is a slap in the face. It's because like, damn.
Gotcha. And you think that the season 2 of Tokyo Revengers do you think it's going to follow to the storyline of the manga?
I hope so.
Yeah?
I truly hope so.
Don't spoil it.
I mean, I haven't seen
He's only one
2.
chapter into it, so it's not like he knows too much.
And I'll be completely honest, I only read half of the chapter because I'm like, I don't want to know.
Okay.
Because this is one of those shows, now that I know, that it follows very true, where I'm enjoying the storyline of the show so much, I want to see it and then read it. Because I like to compare and contrast, not judge. Mm-hmm. So I want to know what they put in anime, and then I want to be like, all right, what did the mangaka? Yes.
Mangaka is the creator.
Yeah, I want to know what he put, or she, depending on which show, what they did, and then compare and contrast with what the anime is doing. Because like with Demon Slayer following very close, I'm like, I just can't wait to I can visualize better what I'm reading after I've seen the anime.
I can totally follow that.
So that's why I like doing it. With like Bleach, didn't really have a choice. I did not think Bleach was going to come back, so I read the Bleach manga. I read the last handful of chapters just so I knew what happened.
It's got to be, what, like 2,000 chapters for Bleach?
600 plus.
Oh my god, it's such a long... I go through like little... I love Bleach, don't get me wrong, but like, you gotta put in the commitment for Bleach. Like, I think I go through like 300 episodes at a time, and then like something else will tickle my fancy and I'll watch it and I'll completely forget about Bleach and have to rewatch it all over again.
Well, at the rate that 1,000-Year Blood War is going right now, it is sticking to action, and I would like to assume that there's going to be zero filler.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exciting.
So I think the filler stage for anime is officially over. I think anime today realizes that filler is only for those shows that don't really matter. Like
Boruto is like 97% filler.
That's what I've heard. I have not watched much Boruto.
So, and that is brand new.
It's new, but it's not like, it's not part of the, I don't know. I'm trying to say like the popular, the good stuff.
Okay, I love that distinction. Yes.
I know what you're saying.
You're going to offend so many people.
Oh, yeah. Throw your shurikens at me. I don't care.
Boruto is the exception to the rule. I will give you that one. It is the exception because for the most part, everything that we're watching, like Jujutsu, very true to the manga. So the popular anime, from what we've noticed, as I was saying earlier, tends to stick to its original source.
Right. That's all I'm really getting at is like, good anime today is thought-provoking and straight to the point.
Yep. And sticks to the point. That
You mean sticks to the manga?
Yes. Sorry. Sticks to the source.
Yes.
Is the best way to say it. Because like Jobless Reincarnation, from what we've covered, from what we saw, for the most part, it sticks very true to the original source. And that was what, 2021's Anime of the Year?
Somewhere around there.
So I'm truly looking forward to what will be considered 22's Anime of the Year. There's a lot of
good shit out there right now.
Yes.
22 was a solid fucking year for anime.
If Spy Family doesn't win, I'll be a little disappointed.
Ooh, it's gonna have a quick. It's gonna have a hard run against My Hero Academia's new season.
Yes.
Or even Chainsaw.
Or
Bleach.
There's so many good
Let's just
ones
talk
this
about
year.
this fall season alone is the fucking boulder that crushes everything.
It is hard to focus on real life with this many quality animes out there. I will say that. That is incredibly difficult to focus on anything else but watching every new episode that comes out.
I mean, just to give a little plug at our stuff, our Short Flights episodes, we couldn't pick one, so we picked two because we're like, we got to do both.
We got to.
There was no option.
Not going to do a third for Spy Family?
No, we couldn't do three. Three was too many.
If me and Matt had no lives, we would have done Chainsaw, we would have done Bleach, we would have done My Hero, and we would have done Family.
Yep.
4 big fucking names.
That's 2 hours worth of content just to watch.
Yeah.
Every week.
On top of the podcast itself.
So,
it's a lot right now.
Sorry, people, but I mean, I work full time. Lance, you work full time, and you're in your busy season, as our Short Flight listeners know.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm working 60 hours a week on top of all this stuff. So
we're both married. I have a little one. Like, I can't. And on top of that, I go to school. So
adult life is really
getting in the way.
Yeah.
So I would love to, I think I'm on episode 3 of Spy Family, and I'm halfway through My Hero. Granted, I'm current on the manga, so I know what's going on in the anime. I'm also current on Jujutsu, but so at least I know what's going on. I so can't wait for Jujutsu, but that's for a topic for another day. And so unfortunately, life gets in the way sometimes. Lance is like, I can't wait for New Year's so that I can slow down a little bit.
I need a solid month and a half until I can get back to normal life.
And then you're going to be busy again.
Yeah.
Yeah, just out of the blue because that's life.
Priorities.
Stuff.
Anime always comes first, right?
Yes.
Of course.
Anime, eat, sleep, work.
Yes. In that order.
If only.
And I guess we'll sprinkle our wives in there.
Oh, yeah. We do have wives. That's right. I forgot about that.
Isn't that part of work?
Yeah, so that's really all I got. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
No, just cannot wait for season 2.
Yep.
So many questions.
Yep.
Amazing anime.
Yep. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it continues on with what it's at. So something I want to kind of keep asking, is this something you guys would recommend to people?
Oh, 100%.
Definitely.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think I kind of want to continue to ask that with whatever we're watching, because I feel like we want to go with, would you recommend, would you say to watch it, or would you just kind of pass?
Yeah. This is definitely something you can watch. There might be a scene or two that's cringy to watch with your significant other if they're not quite into the whole anime scenario.
Yes.
But like
on a whole, this is good.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd say like 95% of this is
Yep.
perfect.
Not only on the watch list, but also on the rewatch list as well. I would definitely put it there.
Yeah, it's
there's so many characters to learn. I watched this and I listened to this, so I'm glad I re-listened to it while I was at work because I got to relearn about all these characters because there's so many characters. But
yeah, there's a lot. So cool. I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. I hope our listeners who haven't watched this episode yet, or excuse me, haven't watched this series yet, will pick up on this because it's a really good one. Definitely one I would suggest to watch before season 2 either gets dubbed or gets subbed if that's what you're into, and continue on with this one because it's a good one. It's really good, and I can't wait to see how this one ends.
for sure.
Absolutely. Agreed.
You want to close this out, Lance?
Sure. So that concludes our episode of Tokyo Revengers Season 1. Please make sure to rate us and subscribe to us wherever you're listening to because it truly does help a lot. Make sure to also find us on YouTube with our Short Flights episodes. Please rate, review, and subscribe to anything like I said before, and we will catch you guys next time. Thanks.